and Mel. So everyone is aware we will be recording this session. So then the recording will be available on demand for other people that want to watch it. So we'll make sure you get the link after tonight. All right, team, how are we feeling? Shall we make a start? Cool. Tēnā koutou katoa, nau mai, haere mai, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. And welcome to tonight's webinar. It's really exciting. Although it's virtual and we cannot be together in a room, it's really exciting to get people together around this topic that lots of us are very passionate about. Ko Luciana Garcia ao. I'm Luciana Garcia. I'm the Women and Girls lead at SPOR New Zealand. And I'm joined by some of my colleagues, Libby, Lily, Rachel, and Briar tonight, bringing this webinar to you. It's really excited to be here tonight, and this is the first of 3 webinars. But before we get started, I'm going to ask Rachel to move one slide forward and share this view. So this character will help us to get together and settle for the night and bring this kaupapa and everyone from all across the country together. Feel free to join me if you wish. Tu taua mai runga, tu taua mai raro, tu taua mai roto, tu taua mai waho. Kia tau au te Māori tū, kia tau au te Māori ora, tuturu whakamoa kia tina, tina, homie, huie, tākie. For those that are not aware, this webinar is part of, as I said, a series of 3. And we hope that most of you have seen that 2 weeks ago, Sport New Zealand launched a campaign that it's called It's My Move. And for many of you, this is not something new, but we felt there was a need for a campaign to bring some of all these voices and all this movement that is happening across the country together to support and encourage young women move the way. And Lily is going to share with us some insights and some data that we have that really backs this campaign up and shows the need for more and different to be done to support teenage girls to be active. But we also recognize and acknowledge that there's some great mahi happening across the country. And one of the things that we did as part of the campaign was to shoot a series of case studies with organizations and providers that are doing some great mahi across Aotearoa. And today we have 2 providers, Forward Foundation and Wellington Cricket, that will be sharing their mahi with us. Over the next couple of weeks, we are going to also have 2 more providers next Wednesday and 2 other providers the following. So we really encourage you to join us to hear and listen what these people have been doing with young women across the country, and also ask questions, challenge some of the thinking, and also we hope that these sessions help you to think how you can best engage with young women in your community. Before I pass it on to our co-hosts for the night, Libby and Lily, a bit of housekeeping. As much as we would love to see your beautiful faces, for technical reasons, we are going to ask you to keep your camera and your microphone off unless you are presenting or unless you are one of the guest speakers. And if you have any questions as the presenters share the mahi, feel free to write those questions on the chat. Rachel, Briar, and I are going to be monitoring those questions, and then we will have plenty of time at the end for some Q&A. That's enough of me. I'm going to pass it to the wonderful Libby and Lily.
Thanks, Lou. Kia ora koutou, ko Livy Davenport tuku ingoa no Timaru ahau, ke ihi Aotearoa ahau, e mahi ana engare I tēnei wā, ke Christchurch City Council ahau, e whai whaiako ana. Hi everyone, my name is Livy and I'm from the beautiful Timaru. I work at Ihi Aotearoa, otherwise known as Sport New Zealand, and I'm on the graduate program. So I'm currently in my 2nd year of the program in place at Christchurch City Council. So I'm doing a lot of learning there. I'm based in the facility establishment team. So I'm involved in developing activation opportunities with and for women and girls. So really, really enjoying my time there. And it's a real privilege for me to be able to co-host this webinar series with my friend and colleague Lily. So I will pass it over to her to introduce herself.
Kia ora koutou, ko Lily Joyner toku ingoa, ko Otaki te awa, ko Koukou te maunga no te whanganui atara ahau. So I'm one of the other grads, as Libby says, and don't get us confused, we are two different people, despite our names being very similar. And I'm based at Sport Tasman at the moment for my placement, and I've been working in the Active Rec team with women and girls and other disadvantaged rangatahi in the region. So we'll start off by going through some of the profile insights this evening. And so the young woman profile was created mid last year, and it was an update of Sport New Zealand's previous young woman's profile. This one's got more recent statistics, and it's got also some research, qualitative research that was done throughout 2020, and in amongst COVID restrictions, the researchers still managed to get into homes and talk to young people, young women and their parents as well. It seeks to assist organisations in understanding the needs of young women, and it supports the quality experiences in active rec and sport for these young girls. Barriers and experiences of participation, what is important to them, and 10 key takeaways for providers are included in the report. These have informed webinar themes for this webinar and for the next two, on the next two Wednesdays. Some of the themes relate to tonight's case studies, including young women as leaders, not just for sporty girls, and physical activity on demand, which refers to young women seeking activities that fit around school and other commitments. One of the key findings from the report is that much of the reason for drop-off in 14 to 17-year-olds participation centres on the overload of schoolwork and other commitments. 59% of 17-year-old girls state that they are too busy to participate. So when time is precious, we know that unless physical activity is an enjoyable, relaxing, supportive environment for them, they're unlikely to participate and give time to it. To address time pressures, providers could potentially rethink their offering and the day, time, length, or potentially consider a low pressure or low commitment drop-in offering for girls who don't have the time or the energy to commit to two trainings a week, for example. Pass it back over to Libby, I think.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily. So as Lou mentioned earlier, It's My Move aims to encourage providers of sport and rec to think a little bit more deeply and maybe differently about how they go about engaging with young women and providing quality opportunities that meet the diverse needs that young women and girls have. So it's really important that we acknowledge within this that there's already many local providers that are doing really great work in this space. So these webinars provide a really great opportunity for us to share some of their work and for them to share their own work with everyone. And as Lou said, for us to kind of challenge some of that thinking as well. So tonight we're really excited to hear from two of these organisations across Aotearoa who are leading the way in this space, rethinking and reframing their offerings and different opportunities for young women. So we're going to start off by hearing from Cricket Wellington, but before we get into hearing from Frankie, let's watch this first video case study that gives us a bit of an insight into the mahi that Cricket Wellington has been doing with their program called Yeah Girls Move. Awesome. Can you please press play, Rach?
My name's Bianca. I'm here to tell you about Yeah Girls Move, and today we're playing cricket. The whole thing around Yeah Girls Move is you don't have to be good at cricket to participate in it. You can come as you are and come and have some fun.
Yeah Girls was founded in 2018 by New Zealand Cricket. It was kind of in response to, I guess, the perception of cricket and perception of girls cricket, and we really wanted to change that. So we work with girls from 10 to 17 years old. Our hubs are 4 to 6 weeks long. They're an hour long. You'll be able to play a whole game in that point of time. You might get a couple of games in, and you'll be with your peers. You can wear whatever you feel like wearing as long as you're comfortable.
During each session at Friday lunchtime, we would be asked by Rachel if what we want to do, and most of the time girls just said play cricket, have a hit around, but a lot of the other times we would do different activities and things to get us moving more.
For sporty girls, there's lots of opportunities already, so we really want to provide an opportunity for girls that maybe don't identify as sporty, offering a really flexible, low-pressured environment for them to participate as they feel comfortable to.
From Year Girls Move, I've gained a lot of new skills and how to bowl properly, but it's also given me a lot of confidence and trying new things, because at the start I was pretty hesitant about it, but once you get to know what you're doing, you kind of pick it up real easily and it becomes second nature.
When girls do our sessions with us, we really hope that they go away feeling capable and confident within their bodies, that they have some experience of moving their body and how that can make them feel good and make them feel calm, and also go away feeling really kind of connected socially with their peers. So I'd encourage all sports organisations to rethink how they're providing sport. Top of mind should always be no decision about us without us. So talk to your participants, what do they want, and talk to your non-participants as well, and what do they want, and that should be the basis of how you develop a program.
Some advice I'd give to sports providers would just be just to have a lot of options open to try it and to be open to new ideas.
When designing sessions, I think it's also important that you've got great staff on board. You've got especially young women involved in designing the programs and also leading the programs.
Having a female instructor is good, especially at an all-girls school, boosts the girls to want to come and join. Advice I'd give to people who want to start getting active would be to just in all honesty, just do it. Once you get into it, you actually enjoy it and take all the opportunities you can, because you're going to regret missing out on things.
Amazing. So how awesome was that? It's my pleasure to introduce our first guest speaker, Frankie Stewart, as you saw in the video. Frankie is the Community Manager for Women and Girls at Cricket Wellington. Thanks for joining us, Frankie. It's really great to have you here. So if you could start by telling us a little about yourself and your role before getting into the details of the program.
Perfect. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Frankie tōku ingoa. Firstly, I just want to mihi to the team at Sport New Zealand for having me on the webinar, and for all of you for tuning in. So I'm based in Te Whanganui Atara, Wellington, and I lead on our women and girls strategy and offerings at Cricket Wellington. I've been in the role now for coming up 3 years, and it's probably worth noting that I'm not actually a cricketer myself. My background is in community development work in the social sector. But I've really enjoyed utilising that past experience to kind of challenge the perception of women and girls cricket in Wellington, and also improve the way we are delivering to our communities. So it's really cool to be talking with you today and sharing how we've been rethinking our offerings for programs for Kohini and Aotearoa, and hopefully we inspire you to have a rethink as well, and maybe pick up a few things to take away. So yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about the process of how we developed and how we deliver our national program, Year Girls, and then also our local sister program in Poneke called Year Girls Move. Key elements of both of those programs are the provision of a girls-only, cost-free, commitment-free activity in a fun, safe environment. So Rachel, just grab the next slide if that works. So Year Girls, some of you may have heard of it. It's for girls, or those who identify as girls. It's for kind of aged 10 to 17-year-olds, and its tagline is, "It's cricket, but not as you know it," which I think is a really great description of the program. it was 4 years ago, already rethinking and redefining what cricket could look like. We use cricket equipment like bats and wickets, etc. But the games and drills are modified. They're really short and fun, lots of time on task for all the participants, and it's easily amended, so we're able to scale it up or down to ensure that everyone goes away with some success. So the program's offered to participants at no cost, and we operate in hubs. So those are weekly sessions of an hour. We can do it in slightly less if needed to. And a hub will usually last between 4 to 6 weeks long. So most people will come along to every session, but there's absolutely no commitment. So like, you're not going to let the team down if you have to miss a session for whatever reason. It's really flexible in terms of numbers. So we might have a hub that has 8 girls registered, and then we could have a hub that has 45 girls. So it's really flexible in that respect. So our first season, 2018-19, was a success, and success in terms of girls coming along to give it a go, girls coming back, so retention, and also opportunities to gather lots of learnings, how we can improve the program for future seasons. So if we fast forward 4 years, we now have thousands of girls and young women playing year girls all across Aotearoa. So in Wellington, we run hubs every day. Sometimes we've got 2 hubs in a day, and we've got 350 girls playing year girls this season. Players keep coming back time and time again, and bringing their mates, so I assume that's a good sign. And it's provided us with lots of other opportunities that working with communities we may not have well supported in the past. So we've held joint hubs with the Sri Lankan community. We've run a bilingual hub in Porirua where we delivered in Samoan and English, and also enables us to visit schools that perhaps weren't considered to be interested in cricket in the past. So Rachel, just grab the next slide, please. So Year Girls as the original program is a massive success. We have lots of girls participating, but we found in Wellington that we were much better at engaging sort of intermediate age girls rather than those at college. So Year Girls Move is a response to that, and we inspire to engage young women, so women really in the college age. So to design Move, we worked with a group of kohine in January 2021. That group tried a Year Girls session with us, and then we had some pizzas because all the best conversations I always had was shared kai. We talked with them about how we could change the program to better suit their needs, or would encourage them to come and give it a go over a hub or a season. So the group offered loads of great insights, which was really awesome to see. One of the key things was that they didn't really want to be doing a program with girls of sort of 10 to 12. So sorry, younger girls, that means you're out of this one. Also that they were more focused on their body image. They wanted to remain fit. They preferred to do things with their mates. That was really important. And then, yeah, as the Sport New Zealand insights allude to, they didn't have a lot of time, especially when exams are rolling around, or maybe they've got their first after school job. And then finally, they really enjoyed participation programs, but a bit of healthy competition with their mates was often quite fun too. So fortunately, some of their needs we already met with the original Year Girls program. So that was things like short sessions, short seasons, sessions that were flexible in case you couldn't make it 1 week, and at no cost. So on the back of these really great discussions with this group, I worked with one of our activators, Caitlin. She's a personal trainer, a really great netballer, and we developed a library of activities that use cricket equipment to build strength and agility, but it focuses on, I guess, fun and movement rather than the skills of cricket. So some of those you see in the case study video. So those exercises alongside modified competitive games, that's what forms Year Girls Move. So it's strictly for those in year 9 and up. But other than that, it maintains the same elements as the original Year Girls program. So like hourly sessions, run by wahine, all the equipment's provided, no experience needed, that sort of thing. So after we planned out the program, we rolled out Move just in term 4 of last year. We tried hubs in central community venues and also in schools at lunchtime. So traditionally in Pōneke, community hubs are really great. They're really well attended, but for our young women, they definitely preferred the lunchtime hubs. I think for them, what they said to us, for them, it's just more comfortable to go and attend somewhere where they were really familiar with and they could go with their peers, and again fits in well with things like after school jobs and study and exams. So this term we're still delivering Move despite implications of COVID in our community, but arguably this is the time when young women need more social connection and physical activity in their lives. So Move is still on, but it looks a little bit different. We're working, we can't really go into schools at the moment to deliver our lunchtime sessions. So we run like a youth leadership program here at Cricket Wellington. So we've been working with the girls on that program and their schools instead. So those girls, we ran some online training sessions for them, provided them with some session plans. They've got like the Year Girls kit and equipment. So they're now delivering in their schools on lunchtimes on our behalf. So yeah, they look the part and they know their stuff and they're really activating their peers, which is a outcome. So yeah, we're embracing kind of test and learn philosophy. We're looking forward to how that program develops under their leadership, and no doubt that that will inform Move, yeah, for future seasons. So yeah, while Move is in its early days, we as a sports provider are 100% behind it. Since running Year Girls locally, we've experienced a huge increase in girls participating in club cricket. Yeah, team numbers from last season in the girls and the youth space nearly doubled. And one of our Move groups actually from term 4 are now playing in the college T20 competition, which is the first time that school has ever had a team. So it's a really good indicator of the wider benefits of Year Girls and its ability to attract girls to cricket as a sport, and like shows if you do rethink how you're doing your programs, you can really encourage participation, but also lead to interest in your traditional formats. And maybe that's for girls that may not have accessed that in the past. So yeah, from my perspective, I think this is how sporting and activity opportunities will continue to develop in the future, just to ensure that we're meeting a wide range of needs. So the key elements of Year Girls, like the short seasons or hubs that are based on movement and fun, has influenced what we're doing in the girls space massively, but also into the boys offerings and also even adult women. So it's starting to open up sort of a wider discussion of what cricket in Wellington can look like, and as people in the cricket community are seeing value in that way of delivering. So thank you for listening. I hope this short kōrero has inspired you to consider how some delivery changes might benefit your participants and those that aren't participating yet.
Amazing. Thank you, Frankie. It's awesome to hear how much involvement the young women have had in helping with the design and even some of the running of the program. The whole saying of nothing about us without us is really cool. And it'd be really cool to hear just a little bit of what you've observed as a result of taking this approach and getting them so involved in designing it.
With the young women. Yeah, I mean, I think how you staff your program for young women and girls offerings is so important. It's, you know, if they are able to see themselves in the leaders, I think that encourages them to give it a go. So we've really tried to embrace that, like having all our local activators are young women, trying to get a diverse range of like backgrounds and interests, so that the girls can see themselves in their leader and their leaders. Yeah, and having the Kohene now working as like inspiring activators is pretty cool. Yeah, and I think also potentially just thinking about the benefits, like having young women working as activators, you know, that's their potentially their first opportunity to gain that sort of meaningful work experience. And hopefully over time that will be, I guess, contributing to changing the face of sports deliverers and encouraging young women to give it a go as well and be a leader in that space. So, yeah.
Awesome. The only other burning question I have is about how in the video you guys talked about how the girls can wear whatever they like and whatever they feel comfortable in. And I know that having played cricket when I was a kid myself, those whites aren't the most practical thing, eh?
Oh no, not when you're 12 to 14. You're just working out how things are working. That's my current mission at the moment, is to get some feedback from our youth in Wellington about whether that's a barrier for them. Yeah. But I think in terms of the uniform for year girls, like that was probably never something that we actually ever discussed. Like it's a bit of a no-brainer. Like it aligns fully with what we're trying to do in terms of removing barriers, so no cost or like for religious reasons, making sessions comfortable. Yeah, whenever we sort of send out our registration email, like welcome to year girls, blah, 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 we always just say, look, just wear what you can move easily in. And I actually really love it, like, because year girls we do on lots of different surfaces. So we might be in a gym or grass or maybe even like the school netball courts. So it's cool that the girls can just wear bare feet or shorts if it's hot, or pants if that's, you know, that's what you feel comfortable, and run around, yeah, just on the bare feet in the grass. Like that's great. And we even have girls, you know, they just do it in lunchtime in their school uniform, so even skirts. So yeah, but yeah, not really actually really discussed, just like of course we would have no uniform.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a really inclusive approach. Alrighty, there's heaps of really good questions coming in the chat, but I think we'll save some of them to the end. But thanks, Frankie. So we might hear from you at the end when we've give you some more burning questions.
Awesome. Thank you.
But let's move on to the next amazing case study video, which another great example of rethinking offerings for young women is Forward Foundation's delivery of Christchurch-based Not So Sports Club. So let's have a look at this one.
Hi, my name is Michaela and I'm here to talk to you about Not So Sports Club, and today we've been trying self-defense lessons. I'm not a sporty person, so I went with this because it's a little bit of everything and it sounded fun. And they're actually interesting to me, whereas like soccer, rugby, netball, they've never appealed to me, but going out and doing bowling or swimming or self-defense, that's always been a bit more interesting.
My name's Deb Johnson and I'm the Programme Coordinator for the Not So Sports Club. The purpose is that we are trying to get girls active. We're targeting girls that perhaps aren't involved with traditional sports. So what we do is that we run each week a different session for them.
I've learn't how to do like bowling and all these sorts of stuff I probably would never have done, so that's probably my favourite bit, learning how to do things.
Hi, my name's Nolani. I'm involved sport club. It's like developing sport. Sport is like winning, losing. It's quite hard, especially for deaf. It's very difficult. So it's better to do different every day. It's just try your best or give it a go.
What I hope the girls take away from these sessions is, number one, enjoying being active, but probably more important than that, number one, is the confidence that they seem to be growing. What I've noticed sometimes is at the start of the session someone might not want to join in, and the technique that seems to work is that we just keep quietly trying to encourage them, and then often by the end they've joined in at least part of the session. That's probably another advantage why having just girls, they're less self-conscious and they're doing it with their friends as well.
any girls from high school, for example, deaf, you can involve any time. It's good opportunity to learn skills, have fun.
I think it's important for sports educators to provide something that's more fun than competitive, because like no one gets a prize at the end of the year for being best team, so there's nothing really pushing you to do your best. You do your best because you want to, not because you feel like you have to.
The great thing also is that we pick the girls up from school, so as soon as school finishes we provide the transport to take them to the venue, and then we provide whatever it is that we're doing that day.
I probably gained the not so sports, a bit of confidence in trying new things. I've gained a bit more knowledge in certain areas, like I now know how to defend myself. I now know how to theoretically ride a horse if I ever do that again. I would not be staying active at all if I wasn't part of not so sports.
I love that video. I think it's so great to see a bunch of girls just having fun with each other. And I think that Nolani and Michaela articulated some of the challenges and the needs of so many young girls and women really, really well in that video. So awesome to see. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the first of our speakers from the Ford Foundation, Kim Lazor. Kim is the program manager at Ford Foundation, but I will let you explain your role and all things Ford Foundation and Not So Sports Club. So over to you, Kim.
Thank you very much. And I agree, I can't watch that video enough. I just love to see the girls out there giving it a go. And today I'd like to tell you just a little bit about the Forward Foundation as a whole, and then I'm going to turn it over to Deb Johnson to talk specifically about our Not So Sports Club. The Forward Foundation is a New Zealand-based charity. It was founded in 2012 with a mission to empower and upskill high school age girls through active sport and recreation. We spent a lot of time designing our programs, and our programs are designed to encourage participation, instill confidence, and develop the leadership of girls in our programs. The Forward Foundation has 3 core programs: our combined sports program, our ambassador program, and then the one that the video was about, the Not So Sports Club. But first I'll tell you a little bit about the combined sports programs. The combined sports is when a school doesn't have enough girls for a particular sport, such as rugby or cricket or football, whatever it might be. We get the girls from the different schools together. We hire a coach and we give them a uniform that looks good and fits them and was designed for girls, and they get out and they get to play the sport that they want. As I mentioned, to date, we have rugby, cricket, and futsal teams, but we're always looking to expand our programs. So if anyone on this webinar knows of girls that are missing out, please let us know, because we're happy to try to put together combined sports for that team. Our second program that I want to just briefly touch on today is our ambassador program. Our ambassador program aims to increase participation in girls' sport through identifying aspirational young female leaders and enabling them to inspire those around them through the sports they love. So each year we select around 20 to 30 girls, and they become part of our ambassador program, and they participate in various activities throughout the year, including 2 conferences that give them new tools and skills to enhance their leadership skills. So those are 2 of our 3 programs, and the third program, our newest program, is the Not So Sports Club, and that was what the video showcased. And I'm now going to turn it over to Deb Johnson, who is our Not So Sports Club coordinator, to talk a little bit more about this program.
Hello everyone. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a summary of what the Not So Sports Club provides. A lot of that was shown in the video. So we run after school weekly sessions for the girls, and they're recreational sessions which must involve the girls being physically active in some way. We go to different venues, so some are indoors and some are outdoors, and the varying venues expose the girls to different recreational places that are in the Christchurch Centre or in the environment around Christchurch. Outdoor venues, the sort of places that we've been to, we go to the river, we go to the beach, and we've used a lot of the parks, the different parks in Christchurch. And we've also explored the surrounding countryside up into the Port Hills. Indoor venues are places such as the gyms, sports centres, and also lots of the local businesses that offer opportunities for girls to be active. Our sessions are provided by our own activity leaders, and also some of them are provided by outside providers. The outside providers, it could be that we're linking up with local sports providers, such as Canterbury Cricket and Basketball, or local sports clubs, such as the Riccarton Racecourse Bowling Club, Avon Rowing Club, and also the Shizuoka Martial Arts Club, which is the one that was featured in the video. And then the local businesses that we link into are places like mini golf places. Our own activity leaders, they can organise sessions ourselves, so we plan those, and examples of those are things like orienteering. We go lake or pool swimming, or on a bushwalk, or we run game sessions in some of the various lovely venues that we've got around Christchurch. The types of activities that we've done in the last 18 months have been paddleboarding, beach swimming, playing cricket, indoor football, orienteering, going on bushwalks, horse riding, badminton, rock climbing, and last week we went lake swimming and also kayaking. We provide transport for the girls to get to these places, and we return them back to school at the end as well. It's completely free for the participants, and we also have realised that we need to provide snacks for the girls because they often are lacking in energy unless we do that. It's aimed just at teenage girls and only girls, no boys, and we work in close partnership with the local schools. Our whole purpose, or our whole goal in the way we've designed the program, has been to remove barriers, the barriers that stop girls participating in sports. One of those is the fact that we heard about earlier, what girls are too busy to participate. The fact that our sessions are just once a week, that is not as much commitment as some other types of activities. There's no additional training required. They just come for the once a week session. And the other thing is that we don't commit them to having to come every single week. Most girls do because they enjoy it, but if they've got something else on, that's okay. And also we are aware, particularly for our older senior high school students, that term 4, that second half of the term is really probably not going to be a good option for them. So generally they've just come in those first 4 weeks of that term 4. We also provide our sessions at a time when other school teams are playing sport. So we're very fortunate in Christchurch where schools finish half an hour early on a Wednesday. So we provide our sessions at that same time. So it means that they are not, the girls are not finding their evenings are being cut into too much. And some of them go off to do jobs, or else they have school commitments or other things they wish to do. The other thing that helps is the fact that we provide the transport. The girls themselves are not having to rely on time-consuming public transport, and also their parents are generally pretty busy people, so we're providing that transport for them, which helps. Another thing that we know is that girls are can be very, not all, but some can be quite self-conscious. The fact that it's just a girls group helps with that. Obviously, some of the places we go, there are boys there or males there, but a lot of the times it is just our girls in a private place or might be out in the community. We also, like Frankie, we don't have an expectation about wearing a uniform. We do provide tops for the girls, but they can wear whatever they feel comfortable in, as long as it's safe in terms of whatever activity that they are doing. It also means that they don't have the cost of providing a uniform as well. We have found that that girls can be quite self-conscious about whether they are succeeding or not, and I think that puts a lot of people off participating in sports. There's no requirement to be successful in our club. Success in the Not So Sports Club is having a go, and that's all we ever ask of the girls, is to have a go. And we work on a philosophy of sort of encouraging them to participate. and making the environment such that they want to, and that it's safe, and that they feel comfortable in having a go and trying something new. The other barrier that we have removed is the cost. So as I said before, it's free to the participants, and we provide all of the equipment, and we also do supply to some of the girls clothing if they need it. There are multiple benefits to doing any kind of sporting or recreational activity, but what we feel really pleased about with how we provide it is that by participating in sport and recreation, they're actually doing it with their friends. There's no selection into a particular team or selection into a particular group. They can participate with who they want to. That also helps with their enjoyment of the session. We also have a very big emphasis on fun, and we show them that being physically active can be fun. And we know from the surveying and the talking to the girls and the feedback that we've had from them that they do enjoy the sessions. And we also can tell from the retention rate that they want to keep going. They're enjoying it, they're having fun. We've had some girls who have been with us for the last 18 months, and that big core number of them are still participating. Although it's fun, and although it seems pretty free, and it's very challenging for the girls, and I think that really helps with their growth. So we're providing something different for them every single week. It's quite a challenge for someone to participate in that, but that's something that I've seen them grow as individuals, that they try something new, they have some small rewards in achieving it, or even just in actually taking part and managing to do something new, and you see them growing as a person. You see them growing physically, but you also see in particular them growing in their confidence. And we've had a lot of feedback from parents and also the girls themselves about how much more confident they feel they are after they have participated and tried all these different things. The other thing that I think is a really good thing is exposing them to what is available to them locally. They learn what businesses there are, or places they could go with their families, or they learn what clubs and other providers they could actually sign up and take part in. So I think that's a brief outline of what we do and how it could benefit girls.
Thank you so much, Deb. There was so much wonderful information in there about how you're removing barriers. I've written down transport, no pressure to commit, no uniforms, shared Kai, and the early finish initiative. That's just some of them. I almost couldn't keep up with all of the wonderful things you're doing. So thank you so much, Kim and Deb, for sharing that with us. I've got a couple of quick questions, and then I'll invite Frankie and Lily back onto the screen to join us for a kind of a quick fire Q&A. So first of all, I wanted to ask how you go about gathering feedback on the sessions from the girls who participate, and how is this feedback then used to inform future sessions?
Yeah, I can talk to that one. What we do at the end of each term is we have a survey that we found, sometimes the online emails and forms get lost. So we actually bring them a piece of paper at the last session with a survey, quick and dirty survey, about the program, what activities they've enjoyed, what activities they'd like to see done in the future, and a few other questions. And we get great feedback from the girls about what they like, and also what they'd like to be done in future sessions. And also during the sessions themselves, they also often talk about, well, what are we going to do next week? And can we do this? And can we do that? So we do get direct feedback from the girls to determine what our plan is for the year. And Deb, feel free to jump in on that as well.
I think sorry, I was having trouble getting my mute button working. I think you've pretty much covered everything there. Thanks, Kim.
Awesome, thanks, Kim. That's so important. So really cool to understand how you go about doing that. Another question we've got, what are some of the ways that you have needed to adapt due to the ongoing uncertainty caused by COVID-19?
Deb, I'll leave you to that one.
Oh, Deb, you're just on mute. There we go. I think that's good.
Yeah, sorry, my button keeps, without me touching it, it keeps going off and then not reacting. So we decided early on that once the actual official lockdown stopped, that we wouldn't let COVID stop us providing something for the girls, because like Frankie said, we thought it was important that there is something active that people can do in these times. So we realised we had to be very flexible with our planning. So we initially this term, we decided, well, let's go with outdoors activities because there's less chance of those being a problem, less chance of infection, and also less restrictions with the facilities. So that was the first thing. The next thing we did was we had to, obviously, we have to talk to whatever providers and go with whatever regulations they have in terms of whether people are vaccinated or not vaccinated. So we had to work within those parameters. And in our second week, that was in the days when there was a lot more isolation taking place to do with who was being a close contact and wasn't. So we had 24 girls that couldn't come because their schools said they couldn't participate in outdoor activities. So in terms of coordinating it, we just went with the smaller number and just organised the activity for the smaller number that we had. We've also had some struggles with staffing, so we still needed to keep our staff ratio numbers up. So last week, my daughter got asked if she could finish work early and come along and help out with the session. So it's just trying to work anything that will ensure that you can offer something to the participants. And obviously we follow all of the safety regulations that are required.
Awesome.
Is there anything else you want to add, Kim?
Awesome. That's really important that you're still continuing to deliver, because I think Wahine need these physical activity opportunities now more than ever. So really cool to see that you guys are pushing forward with that. Cool. I'm going to invite Frankie and Lily back on the screen, and we're going to take some of the questions that have been posed in the chat. So there are them, and we are kind of reaching the end of our time, but we'll ask as many as we can, and we might flick out some in a follow-up email if we can get answers to some of the questions that we have from the attendees. I'll pass it over to you, Lily, if you would like to ask the first one.
Cool. So for Frankie, we've got a couple of questions about how the delivering in schools thing works, and is it primarily delivered through schools, and how did you identify how to do that?
So your Year Girls Move is primarily in schools, just because it seems to fit in better with the girls and their own schedules. So that's in a lunchtime session. Some of the girls, like I saw a question about what schools, shouldn't they be delivering it? But I guess for some of the girls, like they might not be doing PE anymore, especially the older ones, and maybe focused on other subjects. Sometimes in co-ed schools they prefer to do it because it's girls only. And being active in your lunchtime, I think it's really great for girls. Like, it's a bit of a generalization, but often you in the schools will see that the boys might be playing football or basketball and the girls are on their phones or talking in a group. So it's a really good opportunity for them to move around. And then in terms of identifying schools, like we're probably at the point now where we're more working with the Welling. So some of the schools that I've already got good relationships with their sports coordinators that are enabling us to come in and visit. And then I think as we grow and really embed the program, then we can go out a little bit further.
Awesome.
Awesome. This question is for Deb. So how do you identify the girls that are involved in Not So Sports Club? And so can they join themselves, or are they identified through their schools?
We rely on the schools to recruit, but we do ask that they, first of all, they put the advert out to everybody, and then we also say, suggest to them, and some schools have done this, where they might specifically target some girls that they want to get active. So, yeah, both methods. So, yeah, but that's something where, we're not a school club, so that's where we don't have easy access to the girls. So we are very dependent on the schools doing that recruiting for us. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks, Steve.
Awesome. One that's probably both of you. In terms of the program sustainability and how you fund your programs to keep them free and keep them going, and where you find your funding.
Was that just about funding? I just couldn't quite hear it.
Yeah, I missed it too.
Yeah, it's echoing a bit, I think. Hey. I'll repeat the question. How do you identify funding, and what are your sources of funding to keep it sustainable and keep it free for the girls?
So yeah, currently for the last few years, we've had funding, Cricket Wellington's had funding directly from New Zealand Cricket to run the program. And then I guess every year we're sort of looking at whether that continues for another year or not. We, like I said, we are 100% behind the program. So I would hope that we would continue funding it internally, even if the external sources were not available. It's fairly low cost once you've set yourself up with all of the activated kit and the equipment that we need. So I wouldn't foresee that we could, I wouldn't foresee us stopping it anytime soon. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll ask one more question. Kim, did you want to answer that one as well?
Oh, sure, absolutely. With regard to funding for our programs, we've been very fortunate to have a number of outside providers, such as the Tumanawa Fund from Sport Canterbury. RADA has funded us, and we have the E.V. Milton Fund and some other smaller funders, which are all important. It is nice that we have a diversity of where that money comes from, and we do provide the programs for free, which is important. So that outside funding is important.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I have a question for you, Deb and Kim. Do you see girls carrying on with Not So Sports Club in your other programs after having a go for the first time?
Well, yes, we have. Not massive numbers, but just this term there was one girl that hasn't signed up because she's taken up football. And as I said before, we purposely run our session on this at the same day as when the local when the students are actually participating in school sports, so that we are it's not going to be for the people that are doing those sports. So yes, we've definitely got not a big number, but a small handful of the girls who then take up a particular sport. And probably more than maybe taking up a particular sport, we've had some feedback from the parents that they have actually just participated in recreational type of sporting activities as well, and that they've got their families to participate in things. So that's probably happens a wee bit more than them actually taking up for joining a team or joining a club.
Cool. I think we've got one more question. So for Frankie, how do you guys recruit your activators, particularly the young women? How have you identified them?
We obviously go through the usual routes of putting it online. But yeah, like I said, we're really trying to get a diverse range of people, of interests and backgrounds. So I think you have to be really active in your community. to do that, like shoulder tapping people, encouraging them to give it a go. We've been working the last few seasons with a former refugee organisation with our kids cricket, so like talking to them and like who have they got in their communities that you know, might be looking for a job. So yeah, really trying to actively seek out different people. And we also trying to work with some winter sports providers so that some of our really great activators might continue on doing sports delivery, so like rugby or football, and then come back to us the following summer. Yeah, and then in terms of the young woman, like that comes through our leadership program, which is a self-nominated program.
Oh, I muted myself and then started talking. That's classic. That's awesome. I think that's probably all we've got time for tonight. But thank you so much, Frankie and Deb and Kim. I'll pass back over to Lou and she can wrap things up for us with a karakia.
Thank you, Libby, Lily, Frankie, Deb, and Kim. We were on a chat behind the scenes, and we were saying that we've watched those videos, not hundreds, but dozens of times already, and each time we watch it, it draws a smile on our faces, and we get goosebumps seeing and hearing those young women having an amazing experience through sport and active recreation. So thank you for sharing your mahi, and thank you for thinking outside the square and really engaging with young women to think differently about your offerings. It was great to see how you keep coming to those insights that Lily talked about at the start. So really important that we are engaging with the young women and understanding what they want and how that we can best work with them for them. So I won't spend much more time because I know we only have 2 minutes, and we are going to follow up with an email with more details and links. But please remember to check the It's My Move website. There's lots of resources out there. There's a section for leaders where you can find all the video case studies, lots of really cool articles, all the research, infographics, and resources that can help you start rethinking and reframing some of your offerings. And you can also register there to receive a weekly newsletter with more resources and more articles. There's also an Instagram page that you can follow, which is at It's My Move #inset. We have 2 more webinars coming. So next webinar is going to be next Wednesday, same time, same place. So if you want to join us, we'll send you the link to register to that webinar. It's going to be focusing on empowering young women to lead their activities, and we're going to have the amazing team from Word and Journeys Otago. And the following week, we are going to focus on creating safe environments where young women feel valued and feel encouraged and don't feel judged. And we're going to have the team from Sport Husband and the team from Sis Sisters. So really cool. Oh, no bias, Lily. Very cool mixture of different types of activities, different types of organizations, and really great mahi that hopefully prompts and creates some sparks and thinking across providers. So last but not least, I want to thank you again, Frankie, Kim, Deb, for your time and your wisdom. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who invested an hour of your busy weeks joining us and engage in the chat and the corridor. Thank you, Libby and Lily, for co-hosting the session, and thank you, Brian and Rachel, for doing your magic on the background. I'll close up with our karakia, and as I promised, we'll follow up with an email with all the links and the recording. Feel free to join me if you wish. Tu taua mai runga, tu taua mai raro, tu taua mai roto, tu taua mai waho. Kia tau au te Māori tū, kia tau au te Māori ora, tutura whakamua kia tina, homie, huie, tākia. Have a great evening, and we'll follow up. We collect all those questions, and we hope we see you back next Wednesday. Ka kite.